In 2026, the concealed carry wall at your shop has never looked better on camera. But a lot of what is getting hyped is quietly making your job harder, not safer. Over the last few months, I have been testing and digging into 6 of the carry pistols everybody keeps hyping up. And once you peel the labels and marketing off, the truth is pretty damn brutal. Some of these guns are built more for lawyers and politicians than for people who carry. Some are beta tests you are paying full price to debug. And I am saying that as someone who loves new guns, not a hater. So in this video, I want to walk you through 6 2026 carry pistols you need to think carefully about before you bet your life on them, and what smarter options look like instead. Number 6 on this list is the one that hurts the most, because it comes from a brand a lot of us grew up trusting. Glock 17V and Glock 19V are the next evolution of the classic duty and compact lineup, and on the surface they check all the expected boxes. Striker-fired 9mm, full size and compact capacity, same basic manual of arms, and the reputation for durability that made the earlier generations famous. The twist is why these pistols exist. They are being re-engineered around pressure from governments and lawsuits over illegal conversion devices. Internally, rails, trigger parts, and even slide geometry are being altered to break compatibility with the little backplate switches that turn old models into machine guns. That might sound reasonable until you realize what it also breaks is your ability to move parts, slides, and custom work across guns the way the community has done for years. That deep parts bin and cross-compatibility is a huge part of why so many shooters settled on one family of pistols in the first place, for a duty-issued gun that might not matter. For a private citizen who built a lot of skill around specific triggers, slides, and sight setups, it means the new flagship pistols are tuned more for courtrooms than for your holster. And that shift should make you pause. Number 5 is the new kid from a company with a fan club that borders on a religion. Heckler and Koch CC9 is marketed as the soft-shooting, optics-ready micro-compact from a legendary brand. On paper, it looks solid. You get a slim 9mm pistol, optic-capable slide, replaceable backstraps, and a trigger that many reviewers call clean for a striker-fired carry gun. The problem is not that the CC9 is unreliable. The problem is that it walks into a crowded room in 2026 without bringing anything special. Capacity is right in the middle of the pack. The grip length and height do not meaningfully undercut more established micro-compacts, and yet the price lands higher than many of them. When you put it side by side with proven high-capacity micros that have years of hard use behind them, the CC9 starts to feel like a lifestyle accessory, more than a serious leap forward. Walther, SIG, and Springfield are already fighting hard in that space, with long track records behind their designs. If you already live in the HK ecosystem and just love the brand, it can work and you will probably be happy. If you are a new carrier trying to stretch a budget, you can get more performance, more capacity, and a deeper aftermarket by looking elsewhere, even if the logo on the slide is less exciting. Number 4 on this list is where things move from boring to genuinely concerning. Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 should have been a home run on concept alone. A modern .380 with better ergonomics, light recoil, and real-world pocket carry dimensions is something a ton of shooters actually need. Instead, early reports and user experiences have painted a picture of a pistol that feels rushed. People are documenting serial number inserts that work loose in the frame, front sights that drift or even depart the slide under recoil, and light strikes that show up right where you cannot afford them. In small guns that are already demanding to shoot well, any one of those issues would be annoying in a range toy. In a pistol that lives in a pocket, ankle holster, or purse as a last-ditch defensive tool, it is unacceptable. The scary part is that many of these problems are invisible until you get enough rounds through the gun. That creates a trap for lower-volume shooters who will not notice something is wrong until the worst possible moment. When you add in the fact that .380 already gives you less margin for error on penetration and expansion, trusting that performance to a platform with visible growing pains feels like stacking risks in the wrong direction. Sliding into number 3, we have a gun from a company that basically created the modern Micro 9 trend in the first place. SIG Sauer P365 Fuse is pitched as the best of both worlds. It takes the tiny footprint and familiar fire control unit from the original P365 family and stretches the slide and barrel out into what is essentially a skinny duty-length top end. Capacity climbs, sight radius stretches out, and you end up with a pistol that almost feels like a race gun grafted onto a concealed carry grip. The issue is physics and roll confusion. Thin slides with long barrels get hot fast in serious practice, and shooters are already reporting that the gun becomes uncomfortable to train with after modest strings. On top of that, once you bolt the longer grip modules and extended magazines onto the platform, concealment starts to feel a lot closer to carrying a compact duty gun anyway. You are paying in comfort and heat for gains that do not move the needle much inside realistic defensive distances. For the average concealed carrier, the sweet spot is a gun that you can actually practice with regularly, that carries comfortably in normal clothes, and that uses magazines and parts you can find easily. The Fuse ends up in an awkward middle zone, where it is not clearly better at any of those jobs than simpler, shorter slide versions. The number 2 spot goes to a handgun that might be the most emotionally attractive on this entire list. Walther PPK SSD in .32. ACP looks incredible on a screen and checks every nostalgia box. Steel frame, classic lines, threaded barrel for a suppressor, and the kind of old-school double-action profile that makes you feel like you stepped into a movie. If this were a video about range toys or collection pieces, it would rank near the top. But when you look at it as a modern carry pistol, the shine comes off fast. The cartridge is underpowered compared to contemporary Thundry 80, and 9mm defensive loads, especially once you start looking at penetration and expansion through realistic barriers. The gun is not light, capacity is limited, and once you hang a serious suppressor on that little barrel, the entire package becomes long, awkward, and hard to carry discreetly. You end up with something that is beautiful, fun, and historically interesting, but noticeably behind the curve for day-to-day concealed work. In a world where tiny polymer pistols can give you better ballistics, more rounds on board, lighter weight, and easier maintenance, it is hard to justify this choice as anything other than an enthusiast indulgence. Finally, number 1 is the gun that might win the beauty contest on most social media feeds, while quietly being the riskiest bet on this list for normal carriers. Girsan Witness 2311. Brat packages the classic 1911 style trigger and a double-stack magazine into a compact footprint and sells it at a price that seems too good to be true compared to high-end 2011 style pistols. In many ways, that is exactly the problem. Single-action, double-stack designs can be amazing fighting pistols when they are built with very tight control over feed ramps, extractors, magazines, and safeties. That level of precision is expensive. When you try to offer that experience in a budget package, small inconsistencies start to show up fast. Owners are already seeing guns that are picky with defensive hollow points, that need extractor tuning, or that feel rough around the edges in the controls. For a competition shooter who loves tinkering and has backup guns, that might be tolerable. For someone stuffing a pistol inside the waistband and heading out the door with kids, work, and life on the line, it is not. At that point, you are trading proven, boring reliability for style points, and that is a trade you only regret once. There is nothing wrong with owning one as a fun project gun, but it should not be the only lifeline you have when something ugly walks through the door in front of you. At the end of the day, shiny new doesn't always mean safer or smarter. If this helped you sort through the noise, drop your experience in the comments, hit like, and subscribe. And we will talk again soon together when we break down the next batch of must-have guns.